Okay, good morning, Bernard.
Good morning, Dr. Priscilla.
It's good to have you back. Sorry for yesterday, but I am here today.
Yes, no problem for that.
Okay, so today we're going to read from Deep English, The House That Rubbish Built. Would you start to read for me?
Yes, deep English. I suppose advanced English.
Yeah.
The house that rubbish built. We live in a disposable society and generate tons of garbage each year. Yet, one man's trash is another man's treasure, as Costman Andrews Carney discovered when he built a house out of rubbish.
Good. Now, this is an idiom. One man's trash is another man's treasure. What do you think that means?
It means that in the rich country, the trash is nothing, but the same trash, if you can send them, if you could send them in poor country like some part of Africa or Asia, will be a treasure for the man.
Okay, and that's true. And it's not so much that you have to send it to a poor country. When you go to yard sales or auctions, that's someone else's trash, something that they don't want. They're getting rid of it, but someone else may treasure it. Okay?
Okay. After
Continue.
20 years of working in the recycling industry, the 55 years old decided to put his skills to good use.
And
In,
here we, okay, in 6 months.
in 6 months, he built a modern house from scratch, and he only used recycled waste in its construction.
And from scratch is an idiom.
From scratch, from something like plastics, for example, bottle of plastic. With bottle of plastic, I've already see a picture on the internet
Hmm.
of a man who built a small case in it.
Hmm. And we also, that when we say from scratch, it's just from the basic stuff. He just used basic material to build his home.
Okay, just basic.
Hmm.
The house has all modern conveniences and runs on renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power.
Renewable, which means it's rechargeable. Renewable.
Renewable is something you can use several times
That's correct.
because you can recycle it.
Yes. And
Angels,
Angus,
angles, selected materials, earn, market for
ear,
land.
earmarked, earmarked.
Angles, selected materials and mark for a landfill and use this skill to give them a new lease on life.
A new lease.
Salvage,
This is a new start. A new lease on life is a new start.
new start. And unmarked,
It means that they just checked. It's selected for a particular thing.
okay. Is salvage black powder from old printer cartridges and use it to paint the walls. He melted and compressed a variety of plastic products to provide insulation. He used jam jars for light fittings
Bitting,
and
bittings.
beatings. He
And,
used
and
jam
these bit,
jars for light beatings.
and these fittings are going to be fixtures. Fixtures. But fittings is the same as fixtures, like the lamp in the ceiling or the sockets on the floor, on the wall. It's fixtures. The word fix, the word fittings is a synonym for fixtures.
Okay. He used jam jars for light fixing and old apple crates for furniture.
Mm-hmm.
His home also harvests and filters rainwater.
Okay. So this man named Angus, he used inexpensive materials earmarked for trash, which would be rubbish,
Yes.
to build his house. And he used his skills to give the rubbish a new lease on life to make it fresher and better.
I didn't understand light fittings. I didn't.
Like fittings.
Fittings, light fittings.
Okay, so the light switch that's on the wall, to turn the lights on, do you have light fittings on the wall that turn your lights on and when you go into the house or into a room?
Oh, sorry, I completely lost. I can't imagine.
Okay, but no, just try to see what I'm talking about. There's a light switch that you use to turn the light on in your house. When you turn the lights on in your house, what do you use?
Uh, I use a bulb at the ceiling.
Yes, but in the ceiling. But what turns the bulb on? Is it on the wall?
On the wall.
Yeah, you
There's
just flip this, you flip the thing, you flip the little switch up.
yes, I've got a switch on the wall.
Okay, that's a light fittings.
Okay, light
And then
fitting.
and then you also have where the light bulb is, that is a fittings.
Okay,
But another word for fittings is fixture. The light fixture.
that's it. Okay, okay.
Well, what do you call the light bulb in your house?
The light bulb in my house,
Mm-hmm.
a bulb.
Okay, so you don't say the light fixtures, fixtures. Let's see. It would look something like this. Okay, here's a light bulb,
Yes.
and we call it a fixture. We call it a light fixture.
Oh, I didn't. The first
Okay,
time I heard. Okay, okay.
and a light fixture is the same as light fittings.
Okay,
Okay,
okay, okay,
all right. Or it could be the switch on the wall. It could be your little switch on the wall,
okay.
which is like it's a little case right here, and then there's a little switch that you lift up.
Yes.
Okay, so this could be a light fixture,
Okay,
or it could be a light fittings. But
okay.
but
And
usually, but
okay.
usually it's this.
And he used jam jars. Jam jars, they put coffee. Okay, okay.
Uh,
Jam jar for light fittings.
yeah,
And
so that you have a globe. You normally would have a globe to cover the light bulb.
yes.
So he just uses a glass jar and put it
Ah,
to cover.
okay, okay, I understand. And
Okay.
all apple crates for his furniture. And all apple crates.
Mm-hmm. And an apple crate is just like a basket, a milk carton basket. Usually they have little squares all around it. A little
Ah, okay, okay,
crate. And he just uses those to sit on. I probably could find one on the.
okay.
Do you know what it is now?
Yes, I can imagine. Okay.
Okay. And his home.
His home is harvest, and his home is also harvest and filters rainwater.
His home also harvests and filters rainwater. I'm not sure how he does that, but he collects rain for water.
Okay.
Okay.
There's another. There's a glass.
The house is completely?
The house is completely self-sufficient and fully functioning. Costs a lot less to build than a normal house would. Angus believes people should find another uses for things before throwing them out. He explained, people can't keep using stuff. We have got to come up with alternative ways to use things.
Okay. So
Angus,
he's saying that we need to all start reusing items instead of throwing them in the trash or making them into rubbish.
Angus said he built the house to show what can be done with the stuff we send to landfill. He's frustrated that Scotland lags behind other Europe countries when it comes to recycling.
And lags behind, what does it mean?
I suppose it means that it's behind the other countries in order to recycle things.
Yes, a delay. Mm-hmm.
Lags, I don't know.
Lags means to delay. Slow
Okay.
means slow.
Okay. Okay.
Sweden?
Sweden, for example, is aiming to become the first zero waste society. Since 2011, under 1% of Swedish households sent waste to landfill. The effectiveness of the recycling system is so off the charts. They've run out of rubbish. For several years, they have relied on trash from other countries to keep their recycling plants going. They use the energy generated for burning the trash to heat Swedish homes. Sweden is also committed to take care of their environment. In 1991, it slapped a heavy tax on fossil fuels, and now half of its electricity comes from renewable energy.
Okay.
Renewable.
So slap means to put, to place the tax on. Slap and place is the same.
Okay. The Swedish authority believes that communication is key in educating people about recycling. They give customers a discount at clothing shops for ending in all garments. They also offer a can and bottle system which rewards these people with money for every item they recycle. Swedish citizen Daniel Silberstein said recycling is no second nature to him. He stresses it's all about creating the kind of world he wants his daughter to grow up in. He said that one day in the future, we'll look back at this age of West, and it will all seem crazy.
Okay, so let me read the article. The house that rubbish built. We live in a disposable society and generate tons of garbage each year. Yet one man's trash is another man's treasure, as Scotsman Angus Carney discovered when he built a house out of rubbish. After 20 years of working in the recycling industry, the 55-year-old decided to put his skills to good use. In 6 months, he built a modern house from scratch, and he only used recycled waste in its construction. The house has all modern conveniences and runs on renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power. Angus selected materials earmarked for landfill and used his skills to give them a new lease on life. He salvaged black powder from old printer cartridges and used it to paint the walls. He melted and compressed a variety of plastic products to provide insulation. He used jam jars for light fittings and old apple crates for furniture. His home also harvests and filters rainwater. The house is completely self-sufficient and fully functioning, and it costs a lot less to build than a normal house would. Angus believes people should find other uses for things before throwing them out. He explained, people can't keep using stuff. We have to come up with alternative ways to use things. Angus said he built the house to show what can be done with the stuff we send to landfills. He is frustrated that Scotland lags behind other European countries when it comes to recycling. Sweden, for example, is aiming to become the first zero-waste society. Since 2011, under 1% of Swedish households sent waste to landfill. The effectiveness of their recycling system is so off the charts. They've run out of rubbish. For several years, they have relied on trash from other countries to keep their recycling plants going. They use the energy generated from burning the trash to heat Swedish homes. Sweden is also committed to taking care of their environment. In 1991, it slapped a heavy tax on fossil fuels, and now half of its electricity comes from renewable energy. The Swedish authorities believe that communication is key in educating people about recycling. They give customers a discount at clothing shops for handing in old garments. They also offer a can and a bottle system which rewards people with money for every item they recycle. Swedish citizen Daniel Silverstein said recycling is now second nature to him. He stresses it's all about creating the kind of world he wants his daughter to grow up in. He said that one day in the future, we'll look back at this stage of waste and it will all seem crazy. Okay, so that was the reading. Any questions?
No, it's an interesting article and very actual. And this moment in all the world, in the rich country, we spoke about that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I forgot to press record, but I didn't. So Bernard, summarize the article for me. Summarize this article for me.
In this article, we
learned.
In this article, we learned the experience of a Scottish man who works many years in the recycling industry, and he is now retired and imagined to build a new house with products who are sent in the landfill. I don't understood the landfill.
I don't understand a landfill. A landfill is that place where huge amounts of trash goes. It's like a pile. Okay. Landfill. Let's see if I can find one very quickly. Here's one.
Yes.
Do you see this picture of a landfill?
No, not yet.
Okay, let me just get it and bring it back to the... It's a dump copy. Okay, so here's a landfill here. Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't copy it. Get it. Copy, and oh, I don't know why I won't paste on here. Let's try stop sharing and go here. Okay, this is a landfill.
I can't see the picture.
You still don't see the picture? Okay, let me try sharing it again.
But I understand what is it. It's a field full of garbage.
Yes, it's a like this.
Yes.
Now, do you see a landfill?
Oh yes, I understand. No, a landfill site. Okay, damn rubbish then. Oh yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, unfortunately, we have that in many
Okay.
ways.
All right. So, okay, continue summarizing.
This man saw with the products that are thrown by our society in the landfill, he could recycle some things to build a new house completely convenient and completely independent for energy and this kind of new houses don't use a lot of energy, don't use a lot of water because he could recycle the water. He also painted the walls of the house with the ink he recycled from the printers electronics.
Mm-hmm.
And he want to left planet clean for his daughter after he died.
Mm-hmm.
He is very worried about the way that some countries are low in order to recycle and preserve the planet. Recycle things and recycle the planets.
Okay.
For example, Scotland is behind, a little behind the other countries to recycle the materials.
Okay. So what I gather is that from this article, we learned that one man named Angus decided to prove we don't have to have as much rubbish or garbage as we have. He built a home out of recycled materials, and he also collects rainwater to use for, I guess, watering his plants, drinking, and cooking for himself. Okay, so
Okay.
that's what I got out of that. I'm going to stop recording. Any questions?
No, it's interesting.